This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Applied Botanics, the leader in premium, consistent, and affordable CBD products. So happy to have them as a sponsor of this podcast because for me and many other people, their CBD oils work. And what's cool about Applied Botanics is that their CBD isn't one size fits all. They have 5 different products: comfort, focus, recovery, tranquility, and vitality that are targeted to certain health issues like stress, sleep, and pain relief. Listeners of this podcast will receive 30% off their first order with code word Popko Project at checkout at appliedbotanics.com. And that's on top of their already low price, which is nearly half the price of other brands because they feel that using CBD products should not require a payment plan. Applied Botanics. Live happy and healthy. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by Keller's Lawn Care, Landscaping, and Garden Center. I have been using Keller's services for over 3 years now. So again, a service that I use and stand behind. It is a family-owned business who recently expanded to a new location in Exeter, Pennsylvania to provide you with a garden center as well. Let them assist you with landscape design and installation, mulch, rock, plants, trees, mowing, edging, pruning, trimming, you name it. If it's in your lawn, Keller's has you covered. Visit them online on their social media pages for more information. My guest today is an American country artist, singer-songwriter, and patriot. You may have seen him singing the national anthem before a Buffalo Bills game or before an appearance by former Vice President Mike Pence in Exeter, Pennsylvania, late last year in 2020. I myself have known him since our freshman year of high school, and I've always been a big fan of his music. He just released his new record called North Country, which is available streaming everywhere. Welcome to the show, RJ Scouton. And we're live. And just so, in case you didn't hear that little voice prompt, this meeting is being recorded.
Got it.
Just so you know. So don't say anything you wouldn't say to my face.
But I'm saying it to your face.
But in real life, because this is over the computer, so you could be a tough guy like you wanted.
And
like,
you can edit it out, though, can't you, John?
I could, but I don't. I do my best to just, this is all on the fly. It's unscripted. It's unedited. This is genuine, raw conversations.
Raw.
So
Nice.
I am joined tonight by a longtime friend. Full disclosure, I've known this gentleman for, probably, I don't know, 26, 27 years.
Yeah, somewhere around junior high, high school. We didn't go to the same elementary school. We went to the same junior high and up. Yeah.
Right. So probably since we were,
you were
13, 14.
13, 14. Yeah, you were quite the basketball star in 7th and 8th grade. You beat me in a shootout once.
Yes.
I was pretty pissed about that.
I was a hot shot champion. 7th grade, and then I came in second place to Francis Rogan in 8th grade.
Wow, Francis Rogan. What a name. That brings back some memories.
Yeah, he had some fantastic hair and some fantastic handles, that kid.
Did you ever see his artwork?
I don't think so.
If you ever get a chance to catch up with him, and I know this is a little off topic, but I don't care. I have to talk about it. This kid, growing up in school, and you know that I had 2 best friends in elementary school, Joe Shermitis and Francis Rogan, and we were always competing with each other until Joe grew to like 6'7" and was like the size of the Hulk. Couldn't catch up to him anymore, but we were always like battling on the playground back when you had like tackle football in elementary school. You know,
the good old days.
Life was a little more rough back then, but it was good for us. But anyhow, Francis would draw these. He had these animations that were so incredible. I don't know what he does for a living. I think he's an electrician now. His father was an electrician, but he You should check out his artwork. If you ever get a chance, hit him up. I think he's on social media. And yes, he did have great hair.
He is, yeah. But speaking of arts, we're going to talk to RJ. This is RJ Scouton. I've known RJ, like as we said, since we were 13, 14 years old, and he's always been a musician since the day that I knew him. And he continues to create music, and we're here to talk about his new record, North Country. He just released last Friday?
Yeah, just this past Friday, yeah.
Yeah, so today is June 15th, I think it is, that we're recording this. So I'm not sure when this will go out, but it might be, the record may have been out for a week or two with that when people are listening to this. Cool. But it is streaming everywhere right now, Apple Music, Spotify, things like that. So I think it's great. I mean, I had the pleasure of playing a lot of the songs off this new record on my radio show when I had a radio show. So, and this is the first record in what, 5 years? Yeah,
like we had talked earlier before we started recording, we had talked. COVID affected everybody, obviously, and this would have been a 4-year. This took about 4 years to get all this work together, 5 years, but we kind of had to put everything on hold. I didn't want to release an album when I couldn't really tour or push it, and I'm independent, so everything I do is I don't have an image back at me yet. I haven't got to that point, and that's what we're hoping to do with this record. This has been a long time in the works. Like a lot of the songs you played, like the song "Gone" is on the album. That won me Artist of the Month back in 2017. It took that long to get it onto an album because we didn't know where it was going to fit. With the team that I work with, I have 3 or 4 people I work with. I have a press person and a manager that I work with, and I have another co-writer named Christopher Heckman. Me and him, we live very similar lives. He's from like southwest New York. He lives in Rexville, New York. It's about 6 miles over the Pennsylvania, New York border, right above Tioga County. And we go back and forth via kind of like the way we're going back and forth now. We don't Zoom, but we do some FaceTime stuff. And that's how this album mainly happened. Like he wrote a lot of the songs by himself with other people, with some other people, or had some influences from other people. And I kind of put the RJ Scouton into them, Most of the songs I recorded with him, I had to be able to relate to them though. I can't sing a song that has nothing to do with it. Like I couldn't sing a song about surfing in LA because I don't know anything about surfing in LA and it would be completely fake. It's not me. And even if it was a great song, if I can't connect with it, I can't get into it, I can't do it. And on the flip side, a lot of the songs that are on the album, it's like half and half. Me and Christopher Heckman wrote this album together. So it's co-written, but a lot of the songs he fully wrote and I just put my style into them. And then I'd say 50 to 55%, maybe 60%, I wrote songs. Or a flip side, I don't know. I haven't really measured it out. We don't care. We don't really do that. It's kind of like when you start writing songs and working with somebody, you make a deal right off the bat. Let's put an album out. Okay. Well, how are we going to do this? And this works. And a lot of country songwriting goes this way. There's no rules anymore, John. No, it used to be before, move to Nashville, live there 10 years, and hoping you'll get a hit song out. That used to be how country music worked. But now you've got artists like Cody Jinks, Cody Johnson, who just hit mainstream, even guys like Aaron Lewis that were already established. So they kind of they already had a fan base and they were able to convert it over to country. I kind of did the same thing with Stealing Neil. I had a rock fan base and flipped it over, but not to get too far off topic. With this whole album, we just decided right off the bat, whatever we decide to put together, let's not worry about who's and what's. If I write a song and we like it, let's put it on the album. If you write a song and I like it, because I'm the performer, let's put it on the album. So it worked both ways. So pretty much it's a 50-50 deal between me and Chris. And we're constantly, we never stop. It's like any entrepreneur or anybody that's self-made. You don't, and as a musician, and all musicians know this, you catch slack from 9 to 5 workers, okay? You're always going to catch slack. It's always going to be that way because you don't get up, you don't do everything the same time they do. A lot of times you're coming in from a place where you play, they're getting up to go to work, So for us, it never stops. My phone is constantly, and I'm not complaining, I'm just saying, for those out there that don't understand, especially when you're trying to get known or heard or sell a song to a big artist or try to get yourself to a platform where you're known by thousands and thousands to sell albums and to promote yourself. Right now, it's really hard. It's super, super hard. As we spoke before, I'm on vacation right now, and I'm on vacation. I want to get away from everything, but I know how busy you are. And when you said, "Yeah, let's do a show together," I'm like, dude, I'm on it. Because guys like me, guys that grind and want to make it and want to do things, you can't stop. So before I'm done rambling, I just want to say thank you for having me on here tonight. And thanks for making the time. I know you've had some chaos in your life quite recently, and I'm just really thankful you were able to get me on here.
Yeah, well, thanks for being a part of it. I said before, if we didn't do it tonight, it might be another week or two before we get together, and by that time, the album's out a month already, and we kind of missed the the start of it all. So I wanted to make sure that we got this done tonight. Yes, I am going through some chaos in the home life. But like I said, just a little bump in the road, but I'm glad you took the time tonight. And for anyone listening or watching, RJ is, I think you're in Virginia, and he is.
Yeah, I'm in Saxon, Virginia.
He is using the internet of the old ages, like when, back in 95 when it first came out. So if there is a little bit of a lag or some issues with the audio, I do apologize. But again, I want to get this done tonight because the new album that RJ put out called North Country is really great. Some of my favorites include Heaven in a Hayfield. Back in the old days, I mean, that is really hits home for me because not only because of the lyrics and talking about simpler times and simpler days, for me and you, I mean, we grew up in those simpler times and back when, and the song talks about with the no cell phones and meeting your friends out and riding bikes and kind of that vibe and shutting off. And here we are. RJ just alluded to the fact that he's on vacation, but he's still connected because he has to be, and that's the life we live in right now. But
that's what we gotta do.
Here we are. But so the album. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just agreeing with you.
I was just going to say we talked about how some of these songs have been out for a long time, and it's been 5 years since the last release was, and that album was called Wreck My Head, also available streaming on the streaming services. But obviously, we don't want to talk too much about it because you said it before. I say it to every show that I do. I'm sick and tired of talking about it, but I feel like we have to address it because that's the life that we're living in, and it's COVID. So obviously, you said that it was kind of put on a bit of a delay in getting this music out.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is that when you produce something and you get it out there and you're ready to go, it's good to release music, but I'm a performer. Everybody knows that. You've been to my shows before. I'll play by myself as a solo artist. I'll play, actually you've had him on the show before. You've had Paul Young. Paul plays with me in Stealing Neil. He's our bass player. Mm-hmm. We were hanging out with your brother the other night. I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, he told me that.
But he only had good things to say. John, he only had good things to say. It was all good things.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So, you know, it's hard to, just the timing was wrong last year. Lots of people had to completely change their line of work, especially musicians, and which I did. I also own a firewood business. I supply barbecue houses that smoke meats with firewood, and you know me, I'm an old school country boy. I live in the middle of the woods in Knoxon, and that's something I keep on the back burner. But last year I had to turn that into my mainstay, and the community helped me big, John.
Good.
Helped me a big time. Like, I mean, I sold more firewood during COVID, like the beginning of it. And I mean, everybody was having campfires like at home with their loved ones because they couldn't go anywhere and do anything. And actually, I never thought that me selling wood, I thought it was just going to be a little side project. And it actually ended up really coming in because I wasn't able to make any income playing music. And, you know, when you do what, you know, I'm a local musician in any PA, but I also like to travel and I like to play out. And I had a lot of contracts signed for, you know, state correctional. And I'm not the only one. When people watch this podcast, I want them to understand that I know what they went through because I went through the same thing. We had state fairs, we had county fairs, we had state correctional institutes, we had bars, weddings, divorce parties, whatever you want. That's how we make our income as musicians. That's what we do. And you know, COVID just completely nothing. I went from full force. I mean, I thought, you know, and it's fun. I thought last year was going to be, and then just like everything else, and then boom, out of nowhere.
Yeah, the best year yet. And I talked to a lot of people, myself included. I was prepared and set to have my best year in radio sales that I've ever had, and I think a lot of people just in their careers in general, whether it's a car dealership or a musician or whatever, a restaurant. I just talked to John Tabone at Bar Pazzo the other week, and he said the same thing. They were all just ready to. Like 2020 was like the year that people were just like prepared for, and like they built careers for almost. And
yeah,
sure as shit, like it's just hard to believe that, you know, this happened in our lives and that we had to get through it and deal with it, and it's just crazy. It's crazy, and it just I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I'm at a point now where it's like, and now everything. I mean, you know, you and I are both Pennsylvanians. I've been traveling a lot. I've just started traveling more now, and you know, it's funny how different parts of the country treat things. It's so weird. We're all the United States. We're all Americans, but like New York City is completely different from like, you know, Dallas, Texas, the way everything is treated as far as mask mandates go, as far as vaccinations go, as far as concealed weapons carries go, as far as it's so strange to me how I could go to Missouri, and which is excellent fishing, by the way. If you ever get a chance to travel to Missouri, to southern Missouri, I was south of Springfield. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Rich Yuzevsky for having me out in the beginning of May. I am a huge fisherman. I love to fish. It's just so weird what COVID has done to it has affected everybody differently. And it seems like Pennsylvania is one of the slower states getting back into the path of release into, what word should I use? Normalcy. You know, I traveled to a couple of southern states, and everybody's just, and you know, it's just like you said, it is crazy. It's just crazy how everything is so, right now it feels like we're ready for something big, you know, ready for, I mean, my schedule right now, I've been denying people left and right because the schedule is filling up so fast now because things are opening back up, you know, and it's just so strange, you know, I make a phone call to New York City where I played in a place in Brooklyn. They're still not having entertainment. They're not having it. And it's to me that's odd that we're not all, the whole country's not all doing it together. Which I think it's okay. It's the way our Constitution works. It's the way our government works. It's the way the states work. You know, the states govern themselves and they do their own thing. But it's just odd, you know, how we can, like, you go to Missouri, everybody's doing their own thing, pretty much just about maskless. Bands are playing out. You can go see music if you want. You come farther north, Pennsylvania, New York, you know, and we're all still kind of locked down, you know, not as much, but a little bit.
It's wild because I know that like Texas and parts of Texas were like the governor was like, or, you know, no masks aren't needed. And then, you know, you go to Florida and that's like COVID never existed in Florida, which is crazy because they had like one of the, you know, largest elderly population, right?
Elderly population, yeah.
And it is wild how it all works out. And then and it's so it's easy to think about like why people, you know, wonder if, and I don't want to get into conspiracy theories and things like that with you tonight.
No, that's fine. I love conspiracies.
But it's I mean, there's a reason why people think that because there's states that are like, okay, no, this never existed, but you know, obviously it has. And
I mean, John, I think what the problem is I don't think the problem now is that people don't think COVID existed. I know it existed. I had it. I was affected by it. I'm a type 1 diabetic. Okay, I'm type 1 diabetic, and I had it, and it put me down for a couple of weeks. For someone to ignore the fact that it exists, I mean, I don't even know what word to describe that. That makes no sense.
Right.
Now the way it was dealt with, that's where I could understand the differences in opinion. There's no, I don't think there should be any disagreement. Well, there is no disagreement. It existed. It was real. I've never been affected by a cold that way, the way I was, and my wife was affected by it too back in January. So, I mean,
but there are people who think that it was a hoax. There are people who think that. That's what I'm trying to get at. And like, I was just
I mean, I had it, so I can honestly say right now, I know that whatever I had, whatever it was not a hoax. I had never had anything like that before. That gave me those symptoms, that gave me those signs. It wasn't a regular flu. But at the same point in time, I also was never very keen, and I'll be open about it. And it doesn't bother me to say it. I'm an American. I'm free. I'm entitled to my opinion. I don't like masks. I never liked masks. And before I got COVID, I was becoming a little more conditioned to wear masks because I figured, well, you know what? I don't have to work all day with a mask on. If I just have to put one on for a couple minutes to go do something big deal. So I did wear one when I would go do things, and I still got COVID. So, like I said, for me, I think the problem more in our society is how we reacted to it. I think that's what people have a problem with. I think people are more concerned with the vaccine. They're more concerned with masks. There might be people, whatever group of people are out there that think that COVID does not exist. Like I said, I don't even want to say the word I want to say. I'm not going to say it because we're probably thinking the same word, okay? But I think the problem that lies is how we dealt with it. And you know, I think a lot of the problem too is the media. Every time you turn the media on, no matter what media you watch, whether you're a conservative, whether you're on the liberal side, we're always being fed completely opposite information. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, and it seems like it's all built to just take us as a whole and just go and tear us apart. I'm sick of it. Like, I can't even watch the news anymore. I can't. I like to talk. I like to listen to certain talk radio hosts, but besides that, I can't even watch the news anymore because it just seems so divisive.
It is.
You know what I mean? Well, on one hand, this news media outlet says, you know, if you do this, this will happen, and you're no good. And the other one says, well, if you don't do this, I think people need to be better critical thinkers, and I think that's what we're losing in society. Be a better critical thinker. Think for yourself. Use your brain. Trust who you want to trust. Don't take that freedom away from people. And be a better critical thinker. If you touch fire and it burns you, don't touch fire. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Don't do things that don't make logical sense. And like I said, for me personally, the news outlets and the media, I got 6 months ago, I was in a totally different place in my head. Now, I'm so tired of it. I just want to work on writing music and could care less about turning on the news.
Well, you're probably better off. And we mentioned the song before, Back in the Old Days, which is a great song.
Yeah.
I mean, you wrote that obviously before the pandemic hit, but like, obviously you're kind of you like that old school mentality and reflecting on when life was easier. So like, going back to that song and the rest of the record, I mean, the songs that you wrote, I mean, where do you get your inspiration from for those songs? Is it reflecting on life and what it used to be, and how you wish things were a little simpler than they are now, or the relationships? Because obviously one of the songs I think is I know is about your wife, which is very beautiful. It's a minute 26-second song about to your wife.
Yeah, it's a quick one. Yeah.
But I mean, it gets the point across, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that song, like, people ask me all the time, and I'm sure you've asked songwriters all the time because you have a lot of nice songs. I watch a lot of your podcasts. I don't always watch the full thing, but because I don't have time, but I'll watch what I can watch.
Fair enough.
And Jack White said it once, from the White Stripes. Jack White said, you got to let God in the room. And what he meant by that statement was, he could have literally meant, you got to let God in the room and let him take over or whatever. But what he also could have meant was, what happens when you write a song. Now, some of the songs on the album are from direct happenings in your life, in my life. The song Michelle, I Love You is obviously about my wife. She's stuck by my side through thick and thin, and I have nothing but respect for her. She's a hard worker. She's a great mother, and she also inspired me to write a song back in the old days, because my wife has that she reminds me, she just gives me that, like, that's one thing I always loved about my wife, was that she has that old school kindness to her, like someone's pulled over on the side of the road, you pull over to see if they're okay. If you see somebody working real hard by our house, you offer them a water. You say please and thank you. And that's just the kind of woman she is. So she had a lot to do with that song. And but there's songs on the album like Gone. Gone is not written from my perspective. Gone is written from a person's perspective that was hurt, that is writing. You know what I mean? Like, the album it's a really great album. And we won't have the time to get into every single song and what every single song is about. But like, I don't always like to say what the songs are about, because I don't want to take away from you what you get from it. If I tell you what the song's about, it's going to take away what you think and what you feel when you listen to it. And I don't really want to do that. I want to keep a little bit of mystery in the air. And if something like, I will tell you this much. Track number 7 is called Now I Lay Me Down. That was written by my 78-year-old grandfather. And that's his life story. The first line is, I was born in 43. Well, that's a dead giveaway right there. The song's not about me. Okay? I was born in 83. So it's about my grandfather. He wrote the lyrics and he said, what can you do with this? I went home and 10 minutes later I had a song. That song took me 10 minutes to write. That was it. He gave me the melody, what he heard in his head. He's not a songwriter. My grandfather is very, he likes to entertain people. He's funny. He does a lot of impressions and stuff, but he never wrote a song. And he had a dream one night and he says, I wrote a dream down on a piece of paper. What do you think? And that's song number 7. Besides that, let the songs be whatever they want to be to you. If you think if it fits your life, if it fits something that happened to you in your life, let it be that. It doesn't have to be. I know what it is when I sing it. I know what it means to me. Let it be what you want.
I always think it's really cool, and I respect the fact that you say that. And it's so funny when, like, if I heard a song and you heard a song, like how it's possible that we would hear two different things. And I remember one of my favorite artists, Pete Yorn, had a song. I forget the name of the song, but when I first heard it, and I think it was because of the situation I was in and my life at the time, I heard him sing "Fall in Love with Me" and then something else. And then years later, I actually looked at the lyrics, and it was the exact opposite of that, and it said, "Is something wrong with me?" Which I think it's just so weird how, like, I heard a different lyrics, so to speak. I mean, like, granted, like, I think it's like possible that, you know, he said it that way and it sounded that way, whatever. But you're so right in that, like, you know, you write a song and you don't ever want to take away what that song means to, you know, Joey over here compared to, you know, Sarah over here, because, like, the music is so, like, that's what's great about music, is like people can just interpret it the way they want to and just kind of, you know, go with it.
And you're absolutely right. And to add to that, the songs are cut and dry. I mean, that's another thing I like about the album. Dude, I'm a northern country boy, okay? You know that. You know where I'm from. You know my lifestyle. You know I like to hunt and fish, and I like to do I like to forage in the game. You know, I like wild game, hunting, fishing, foraging. You know, I'm a big survivalist buff. I got into it in the last couple of years. I watch a couple of YouTubers that are into it. So I really I really appreciate where I'm from, because I can kind of, we've got some land where we live, and I'm able to kind of use that land and where I live as an inspiration. But what I'm getting at is where, when it comes to the songs on the album, like a song like "I Belong to You," which to me, I hear a country line dancing song. So when I wrote that song, I put my phone down on my iPhone. I have a voice memo, and that's where I write all my songs. If I get a melody in my head, I put it on a voice memo so I don't lose it. And artists know that you always got to capture what's in your head at the time, especially if you like it, or if it's driving you nuts, if you can't get it out of your head, you got to write it down so you can let it go. You know it's in there, you know it's saved. So that's what I do, and then I always come back to it. But that song is like it's very self-explanatory. The song said, the chorus says, "You belong to me just like I belong to you." You're married. You get what I'm talking about. There's a line in the song that says, "We've got it all, but sometimes we act like we don't. We let our lives get in the way, but there ain't no way I would do this with anyone else." And that's the reality of life. Anybody that's married can connect with those lyrics, because you know it and I know it. Yep. The chaos and the pressure of life can, especially when you have children, can completely just muddy the waters of relationship and love, and make you feel like, oh man, you know, why don't I have it like that guy, or why couldn't I have it like that guy? But the reality is that you have it all. You have that child, you have that, you have your wife, you have the American dream. You have to remember that. So that's what that song is. That song's a reminder to me that whenever I'm losing my mind and I just can't get it together, I use those as bookmarks to go back to and say, you know what? We do have it all. And sometimes we act like we don't. We let stupid, petty little things get in the way. And so like I said, a lot of the album is self-explanatory, but it's country, man, and it's true. It's not like, and I hate saying this because it puts me in a spot, but it's not like it's not like that LA meets Nashville country music. It's not like that at all. This is true, heartfelt country music. Everything on this album is true, man. There's not a song on this album that didn't come. Me and Chris wrote this together. There isn't a song on this album that's one of these instances didn't happen to us. We didn't go through it. We didn't just think like we weren't sitting in a room with 6 people going, hey, what idea do you have? What idea do you have? What's good for a song? We wrote down on a piece of paper what was on our hearts and on our minds and came up with music, and then the rest just came from there. It's all true. It's 100% real. All of it.
And that's great. I think what's so great about music as well is stuff that comes, from the heart. And you mentioned you had a lot of property, and I know you have a song and a video for Who You Are. Was that filmed on your property as well?
Actually, no, it wasn't.
Oh.
That was actually filmed. No, but I am going to be releasing another video, and you're going to see some of my property. And actually another one with a lot of my property. It's coming soon. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm not going to leak it out there because I want it to be a surprise when it comes out. We're going to be doing some, there's going to be a lot more people in this video. You're going to see a lot of jacked up trucks, a lot of hot rod cars, a lot of guys, a lot of girls, all kinds of people working on this with me. I've got a team of 4. I have a team. I have a network. There's about 5 people. And everything we do, we make those decisions together. So it's going to be great. But the landscape and the area where that video took place was in a town called Rexville, New York, which is very, very comparable to Knoxon, Pennsylvania, out in the woods where there's nothing. That's where Chris is from. And that's why we write so well together, because our lives, I met Chris through social media years ago, and we co-wrote some songs on Wreck My Head. We co-wrote songs on that also. So, my wife's back. Anyway, hi, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle. Michelle, I love you.
The song "Michelle, I Love You."
Yeah, it was just a song. I was joke. It was a joke.
She's like, huh? He's like, huh?
Oh, what a failed joke that was.
It's okay though. I don't care. Now it's real TV, man. Now we're getting the nitty gritty. The kids are back.
Oh, great.
So anyhow, because of the lighting, that's why I heard it. But anyhow, it's shot in Rexville, New York. Okay. And Chris's, we used some barn footage. All right. Whoa. RJ, say hi real quick. This is little RJ. Say hi to John.
Hi.
What's up, RJ?
Right there.
How you doing, buddy?
Love you. He wants to show you Godzilla versus Kong.
Godzilla. Oh, man. I have that waiting for me to watch upstairs, too, man.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
We have upstairs on it.
Love you, buddy. All right. So, yeah, wait till your kid's 7.
Dude, it's wild, man. And
then wait till your kid's 17.
No, I want to get into that too.
So that was actually shot. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, it was shot in Rexville.
Rexville, New York, on my buddy's farm. And when you see the footage, I just learned so much from that video. And the video's doing real good right now. We've got we're promoting that. We're promoting the heck out of it, and we're trying to let the video grow and do what it's going to do. It's 100% original. There's no big names on it recording it. There's not, like I said, 100% independent, and that's where we're going to stay. We shot it in the woods at from Chris's house and from some of the properties he had. What's so great about the two of us and what we have is we have these things at our disposal. We both have farms and woodlands and things that we can use to shoot these videos. I mean, we have places where we can have mud bogs with trucks and do all kinds of country stuff, you know? Well, like it's so we both have.
I've got a mailbox full of mail. I'm guessing that the invite for the next video shoot is probably in there right now.
John, I know how hard it was to get myself on this show with you. how the hell am I going to get you to a video shoot? How am I going to get you in a video?
I just drive a car. I just drive the car. It just drives and it gets me there.
Yeah. Do you have a Chevy? It's got to be a Chevy, man.
Well, I'll just borrow somebody's. I'll arrive in my limo because I'm fancy, right?
Does your brother have a Chevy? One of your brothers?
My brother has. I think are they both Dodges? Might be Dodges. I think they're both Dodges.
Not going to work. How am I going to get sponsored by? How am I going to get sponsored by Chevy if I'm driving Dodges?
Can I just jump in somebody else's Chevy that has one? Like just
Yeah, you could do that. You could drive mine. You could drive mine.
There you go. I'll crash it. It'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't care. It's full. It's covered. I got full coverage. We're good. Yeah, it's good. My insurance won't go up.
All right. Well, good luck with your next video without me. That's fine.
No, you're going to be there now. Now I'm going to hold you to it.
I just weaseled my way into it. Was that RJ? Is RJ back? Little RJ, is he back?
Oh yeah. I told you once the kids get back, there's no. This is how it is. Game on. No, he's preoccupied. He'll be good. We're on vacation. You know, bedtime is later. And
it's all good, man. It's all good, man. You're a family man. I respect that from you. I'm the same way. I actually have my kid next to me on the monitor here because my wife is
nice.
Preoccupied at the moment. Yeah, we do what we gotta do, you know.
John, are you growing a mullet?
Well,
is that a mullet I see?
It's not a mullet, RJ. It's just I actually have not cut my hair since the end of January. Like I was getting the sides cut.
I think you should let it go.
Well, I have been. So the top has not been cut. The top has not been cut since March of last year, March 2020. I was getting the sides cut, but the sides had not been cut since January 25th, I want to say, of this year. So it's, yeah, I mean, I'm just, I work at a cool place now.
Go with it. I think you should go with it, man. I think you should mullet yourself the hell out. You need to get that mullet done.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You know you used to have one. You know when you were a kid, you had a mullet.
I had a rat tail. I had a rat tail.
I had a rat tail too. We all had rat tails.
Yeah, that was badass.
We weren't rats, but we had rat tails.
It was badass back then. I remember playing Little League. The locks were flowing. It was great. But what I wanted to talk to you about real quick before I want you to get back to your family and enjoy the vacations. But I met you in school. I remember you as a huge Pearl Jam fan. Every study hall, I feel like you had a guitar with you, which was always great for those who love music, which I think was most of the study hall group. But what was the band that you had in high school?
Fishpool, man.
Fishpool. God damn it, dude. I was going crazy. John,
you were at shows.
I know.
At Radano's.
I know. Back room of Radano's. R.I.P.
You were there.
The old Radano's where there's a King's College building there now. R.I.P. Old Radano's back room. There's great shows back there. No, I could picture. I have like a burned CD and it says Fishpool on it. God, I can't believe that. I couldn't remember it, dude. I could not remember for the life of me. Like, because you had Fishpool, you had Bus 5, right? Yeah. You're doing Stealing Neil.
Short stint with that, about 2 years. Stealing Neil, yeah.
Stealing Neil now. Yeah. My brother was like, "Yo, why does he keep saying my name?"
I played. Yeah, and well, I opened up for Aaron Tippin a couple years ago back at the Luzerne County Fair, and Aaron took interest in our rock music, and he liked my voice a lot, and he said, "I'd love to have you down in my studio near Nashville. They call it Nashville, but any sister town to Nashville, they call Nashville. It wasn't Nashville.
Sure.
It was Smithville, Tennessee. It was about 20 minutes outside the city. And him and his friend Ricky Scruggs, they were there with us in the band back then. I was performing with Dustin Schweitzer and Brian Feist at that time. They're not with me now, but that was great to have them down there with me. Great guys. And Jared Scavone, you know Jared Scavone, he still plays with me.
I know all those
Jared's
guys.
Still playing with me. And, now on this album, here's a cool fact for this album, because you'll never know this because everything's digital now. Unless I do a package deal together, you're not going to get CDs. I'm not going to have CDs made.
Right.
It's weird. People are still having CD release parties. I'm not going to. Do they just call them CD release parties and they just release their album, or do they really release CDs? Or because some people still like to just listen to CDs. I think it's cool, but on this album, I'm going to drop some. I'm going to do some name drops right now.
All right, let's do it.
There's a guy that, on Heaven in a Hayfield. I'd like to give a shout out to Tim Venerosa, who did the lead guitars from Nashville. This was during COVID. This really helped me because all these guys that are on the road with big artists, they were all stuck at home. They weren't touring. So I grabbed them for the album. I didn't use my usual guys. Chris Langan, he's a local guy. He did all the drums on the album.
Chris is a great guy.
Chris Langan does all the drums except for Scouton. Yeah, Chris does all my studio work out at SI. I have to name drop Tom Borthwick and Joe and Wiggy from SI Studios.
Hell yeah.
They do all my. Here's another guy, Jason Miller. He is from Wabash, Indiana, but he plays in all. He's a Nashville name. He's on What I Call Home, and he's also on I Belong to You. He does all the lead guitar on that. There's another guy, and I got to get his. Let me check my phone here just 1 second, okay?
Sure.
Because I want to make sure I have his name right now. I don't want to say it wrong. Can you hear Godzilla up there?
Is that what that is?
I think it is. Why is my phone being slow? Don't allow. My computer wants to access my phone, and I don't want it to.
That's the problem with technology. They want to access everything.
I know, and I want some privacy in my life.
Good luck. Good luck.
1 second. I'll get back to it. Yeah, I know, right? Tyler Hall. He plays with Aaron Lewis. Before Tyler Hall played with Aaron Lewis, he played with Daryl Singletary, who was a big Nashville. He was a big guy on Broadway in Nashville, and he unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago unexpectedly. And Tyler Hall was known as so on the song Gone, Tyler Hall is on that song, and he's actually Aaron Lewis's pedal steel player now. So and there's a couple more names on this album I had. I'm trying to get. There's a guy named Kyle that did. He works with Josh Turner, doing work. Another famous country artist. The only reason I guess I have to say I'm thankful for that part of COVID, because if it wasn't happening, they never would have been available. They never would have been available. You know. So, and I had Grant Williams. You might know Grant Williams. He's a well-known bass player from the area. Absolutely. He's also on the album.
Wow, there's a lot of guys.
So, like I said, yeah, it's a musician medley on this album. Now, when I tour, it'll probably be Jared Scavone, Paul Young, and Pat Myers on drums. That'll probably be my lineup.
I mean, the only problem I see with that group is Paul Young, but I mean,
oh, he's an absolute menace.
He's out of control.
But he's so talented. I mean, I have to have him.
I know that fucking guy. Jesus.
I just have to have him. He's a menace.
Well, listen, again, I want to get you back to your family. You're on vacation, but real quick, I mean, talk about a little bit about you being a husband and a father and a gigging musician. I mean, that's probably not the easiest thing to do. You're out playing at night, you're traveling, you're doing this, you're doing that. How have you been able to kind of navigate the landscape that has been a musician and, like I said, a father and husband?
How have I been able to navigate it? You learn that you'll sleep when you're dead, and you learn that if you're any bit of a good person that's dedicated, and you want to see your kids do good, and you want to see your family have good things, and you want to do good things for your family, that you'll make them number one above anything. So the music comes secondary to the family. So I just try to make sure that, when the important things are going on with the kids, I make sure that I'm always there for it. I don't make every baseball game. That's just not a reality. I have to make a living. I don't make every Boy Scout meeting. I make every one I can. I might be at that baseball game for 20 minutes before my show, but I try, And I think that's the most important thing, especially with if I had to give any advice to a guy who was going to go into the music industry that was a father, I'd say, don't leave them out. Don't leave them out. Make sure that the music doesn't. Don't make the music, more important than the family. I've been on both sides of that spectrum, and as I've gotten older, I've realized that, making that family number one priority is in your best interest. To keep not just for their well-being, but for your well-being. That's
I agree.
It's pretty much all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to tell one story before we leave tonight. And I think it's a story that will connect you and I for the rest of our lives. And I'm sure you probably know the story I'm going to say.
Here we go.
But for those of you watching and listening, RJ and I have been friends for a long time, since we were 13 or 14 years old. But there was a moment in my life where I knew that RJ had my back. And I think it was freshman year. It may have been sophomore year. I can't remember the exact year, but
Freshman.
Was it freshman? We had study hall together. It was the last period of the day before we left the day, and I don't know how it started. I don't really know what sparked it. I was always the kind of kid that was just very neutral. I didn't ever start problems. But I also didn't take a lot of shit from people too. So I might have mouthed off, but there were two individuals. I won't even mention their names because they might be great guys.
No.
This today, like whatever. But there were two kids were kind of picking on me, right? I was getting bullied, and in today's world, that's not okay. But I was getting kind of a little bullied, and we were leaving the last class of the day to get on the buses and go to go home. And they were kind of still picking on me. And RJ, you know this because you were there, you did it. But RJ came to my rescue and kind of like, I don't know, you didn't like slam against the lockers, you didn't do anything like crazy, but like you kind of like stepped in and were like, yo guys, stop fucking around. And I will forever remember that moment.
No, I jacked the one kid. I told the other kid to lay off, and the other one got shoved.
Right.
He got shoved because I saw that you were not in, the situation was unfair. You were innocent. You didn't do anything. And I'll always do that. That's how I was raised, and that's how I'll always be. And that's how I teach my kids to be. You were always a friend of mine. We always had a connection through music and through basketball because I loved to shoot hoops with you in junior high, and we were always buddies.
Yeah.
And I was always taught to stick up because you didn't. You're absolutely correct. You had two kids on you, man. That's a lot of pressure when you're 15 years old. Okay, we were 15.
Yeah.
So I decided to neutralize the threat, and I'd do it again today, buddy. You know I love you, and I got your back. And thank you so much for having me on here. I appreciate it.
No, thanks for the great music. Thanks for always kind of keeping me in the loop of things you're doing. I really appreciate that a lot, especially when I have the radio show. And I'm glad I was able to have you on tonight. I know it wasn't the greatest of circumstances just because you're on vacation. You're taking time away from your family. I do appreciate what you're doing. But the record is great. Again, it's North Country. It's a great album. It's on the streaming services, Apple, Spotify, all the popular ones. You can also check it out.
It's actually on Touch Tunes too. It's on Touch Tunes. Yeah. You can play it in the bars.
There you go.
Play in the bars.
Hit in the bars. Even the record before that, also a great record. Wreck My Head is the name of that. But please, by all means, keep me in the loop what you're doing. I'm proud of you, man.
You too, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've known each other for a long time, and I can't say enough about you. And I'm sure you're not always seen. Your political views are never loved by many. I guess what I'm getting at is.
Oh yeah.
What I'm getting at is I don't necessarily disagree with you politically. What I'm saying is the fact that you and I real quick, you've spoken out against vaccines. I've been vaccinated, but what I'm saying is I respect you and what you again. What I'm saying, I don't even want to bring it up, but I brought it up because I want to say to people in general, like,
no, John, that's fine.
You can have conversations with people who have differences of opinions. And that's what we're doing here tonight. So please, people in the world need to just understand that people are allowed to have differences. They're allowed to have things differently, and still at the end of the day, respect each other. And I think, that's a prime example of what we're doing tonight.
Yeah,
I don't want to make this political at all.
That's fine. No, listen, John. When did it become a bad thing to talk about politics?
I know. I know.
Because why can't we? People can talk about politics and disagree, and it's okay.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Even if it's not a political thing, like if you want to get a vaccine, go ahead. I don't care. But I don't allow people to guilt trip me because I won't get one.
And if you don't want to, that's fine too. I mean, it's America.
That's how America. Yes, that's the point. And that's where free. That's the difference. That's the difference between being free and not being free. Being able to say, "Hey, I don't agree with that. I don't know what I don't know what it is. I don't trust it." And then someone else could say, "Well, I've looked into it. I've studied it. I do trust it, and I want to get it." If you think that makes you safer, then do it. I'm like I said. I agree with you 100%.
That's the only reason I was bringing it up. I didn't even want to acknowledge it. Like I just feel like we mentioned at the very beginning. So it's full circle here. We've just been we've been so divided as a country in general. I just kind of wanted to just talk, it doesn't matter what we think. Like we can still respect each other and have conversations that matter. And
listen, I never have a problem with anybody's political belief until it's shoved down my throat. Listen, everybody knows it's not a secret where I stand. It's not. I mean, you don't have to dig deep to know where I stand. But I'm never gonna. I can tell you why I support my ideas and why I choose to live this way. But it doesn't make you a bad person because you don't agree with me. It's just a reality in life. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
So,
and
I agree with you, man.
I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not a Biden guy. I'm just I'm a people guy. I want people to just realize that we as people are bigger than all that shit. And it just sucks that we're in the situation we're in where we're so divided. And I hope one day we can get through.
Well, I'd just like to throw this out there is that if we could stop getting condescending stories from our media, which any side of any news station is going to have an agenda. It doesn't matter what it is. They have an agenda that they want to push, and they're going to push that down your throat. So it almost seems like, what agenda are you going to believe? It's not, and that shouldn't be the way it is. It should be the truth. The truth is the truth. And that's what the American people deserve. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel.
Absolutely.
So wherever you find your truth, that's where you should follow with your heart. Always.
You know, Mom, what?
No, I'm being summoned. I got to go.
Well, the truth is, North Country, RJ Scouton on the streaming services. Great album. Proud of you, man. Congratulations. Keep pushing, keep playing, and hopefully I'll see you sooner than later.
You will see me sooner than later. Take it easy,
Awesome.
John.
Thanks, man. See ya.
You're welcome. Say bye, Arch.
See you, dude.